Hey guys, CryPTOSICIAN here. All right, so today has been a very interesting day. We've seen a lot of movement in the markets, especially starting with the day starting out as if there wouldn't be much movement because if you look at the 30-minute time frame, we see that price was just ranging through Tokyo session and early London session. But something happened early London session that made me decide to take a quick buy up to the Tokyo session high. All right, because I knew that today was the PPI news, and I suspected very strongly that price was going to drop after CPI took price up all the way. So I was suspecting that PPI was going to come out, especially with the news by 7 a.m. For GBP being negative. That was confirmation that PPI for the US dollar was going to be positive, and I'll show you that in a bit. All right. So first of all, why did I take a buy in the morning? Now, this is what I saw. So on the 15-minute time frame for us to just see more detail, we see that London session opened at this point here by 8 a.m. right there, and then price fell and came down here, taking some liquidity down here, and then just tapping at that point there, which is around this order block here, this 15-minute order block right here, as you can see where that white dot is. Okay, now I took a buy after I went to the 1 minute time frame, as you can see, because even though price comes to our point of interest, we need to wait for optimal trade entry for price to retrace back to a point where it would be more convenient or more profitable to enter the trade. So price tapped that level here at 135,625 or 620 or thereabout, and then went on to break structure, breaking this 1 minute protected high and then retracing to this level here. Now, if you look at the 3 minute time frame, you're going to see something, okay? You're going to see that price broke that level, okay, and created a fair value gap here. Let's see it more clearly. A fair value gap here and here. Okay. Now, if you entered at any of these fair value gaps, you would be fine. All right. But this one here just went up a bit and then came back down, obviously, to this more discounted fair value gap. But then you just have to look at it as a zone. Okay. And then looking at it as a zone, you would now be able to say, okay, let me just enter at that point, seeing that price created a very strong bullish move. Even on the 5 minute chart, we can see a couple of fair value gaps. A fair value gap present in a break of structure or present in an impulse is a good sign that that particular that price will continue to go in that impulse for a while at least. So my entry was around there, around 135 950 or thereabout. And then I held the trade all the way up to Tokyo session high, which was around 135,902. All right. And I took profit and exited the trade because I was being cautious that price was going to drop today. And as I expected, it was just a very brief liquidity sweep. So price took that Tokyo session high, cleared the liquidity, and in the 1 minute time frame, it did exactly what I wanted it to do, which is to break structure to the downside. Now we see this is the liquidity sweep here, around that was around say 11 12 or thereabout, and then price came in and made a low and then made another low here, and then I entered at this point my sell order at 135,850. All right. Now that was my sell order at that point, coinciding with the 50 EMA, a retest of the 50 EMA, and I sold all the way to my TP, which happened with the help of the news. All right. My TP was I'll show you. If we go to the 15-minute chart here, you see there's a fair value gap. Or first of all, before we see the fair value gap, we see there's liquidity here, there's a liquidity point here, and then there's a fair value gap right under that liquidity level right there at around 135 495. So my TP was 135 500, and I got out of the trade. But you know what? The price has continued to go down. Am I worried? No, I'm not. In life or in trading, you just have to take what is yours, take what you want to take, and leave the rest for another time. All right. Like someone once told me, no greed, set your TP and close your trades, and don't get greedy. All right. Now, this is by no means financial advice, but it's important that you mark out your points of interest in the higher time frames and then wait for price to get there and go to your lower time frame to have an optimal trade entry, and you're going to be fine. All right. So, before I call it a day, let me just show you something here on the MyFX book. All right, now we can see here that when we just go to the calendar here, we see that news came out by around 6:59 a.m. All right, and it was bullish for for GBP USD. So that came out bullish, and then this good trade balance, non-EU, and good trade balance, the main one, came out bearish. All right. Now, after this news, we came to 130 here on the US chart, US dollar, okay, news that affects the US dollar, and prices or the news economic data has been very, very positive for the US dollar. All right, now that was a strong sign. First of all, in the morning, seeing these results, the good trade balance, and non-EU, I had a premonition that price was going to continue to the downside today. And then the news for the US dollar came out. Remember, it's GBP USD, meaning that GBP is paired against the US dollar. When the US dollar goes up, GBP goes down. When the US dollar goes down, GBP goes up. All right, they're inversely related. So having this positive news for jobless claims and the PPI that came out as zero point 0.9, I knew that it was going to be a strong sell for GBP USD. And that's what happened. All right. Now, this is by no means financial advice. Do your own research before you take your positions. I'm CryPTOSICIAN, and I'm out.